Okay, today we're going to start out with something easy. We're going to start talking about depression and anxiety, funding and research. This is it across the board. The biggest dots represent the nations with the most funding for this kind of research for generalized anxiety and disorder. They're just looking, kind of casting a wide net, but we're going to look at how they're actually getting data from specific people for specific reasons in this. So within this, you can see that 124.3 million was spent on researching, mostly in just generalized disorders, they say. But listen, depression, anxiety, they're right there at the top. They fill in probably about 30% of the gap. So this is a very big study group. Why? Because generalized anxiety and depression are normally the formation steps to other types of issues. And for the people who say it's not been going on very long, these are the same studies that were happening in 1990 compared to, well, I think it was like 2019. A lot of these places were already doing a lot of in-depth study work with the population in the 1990s. So yes, it's been going on for quite a while. They've been looking into this for a long time, and they've been using some of the same things we're going to talk about to do so since the 1990s. This is a graph I find terribly disconcerting because it's talking about mental health disorders by age, and they have five to 14, and then 15 to 19. When I was working, you couldn't diagnose anyone under the age of 18 because the brain is not formed. You cannot place a disorder on someone who is not at full functional capacity. Therefore, if they're not at full functional capacity, you can't say that they have a limitation yet. Now you can. And people say, oh, they're not looking at this. Yes, they are. Look. From 2022 to 2025, depression screenings on the mental health market, they're climbing, rapidly climbing. Now, that may be because of whatever we went through in 2020. We're going to look into that a little bit too. But they're actively climbing. The engagement for just depression assessments is amazing in this realm. And they're not just looking at one race. This is all races. You see the advancement in all races in the last several years. So everyone is being actively measured. It isn't focused on just one race. It's all races, as you can see. All races have basically done a 2 times, growth in monitoring. It's amazing at how much they're monitoring us, and they don't want us to tell us. And what are they monitoring? Oh, they're monitoring GPS and Wi-Fi. They're looking at our sleep, our locations, our call logs, message logs. And you wonder why your phone always does more and more every time you get an upgrade. It's because they're actively studying these things via our phone. But the most disconcerting information is not that they're studying these things via, it's whom they're studying on these phones, and it blew my mind. Now they're looking at mobility, because mobility and sociability patterns, they show, if you're depressed or not. They're looking at sleep, phone use, circadian movement. They're looking at machine learning, the engagements you do on your phone, the apps, the games, stuff like that. You wonder why you get specific things catered to you. It's because they're testing you. Every algorithm is curated for you, and they're testing you. So the framework of this, basically, they were looking at locations, because if you're not moving, then it shows social withdrawal. So they're looking at your behaviors. Are you moving? No. Social withdrawal. Guess what? That's a behavior marker for depression and anxiety. So they're using your phone. That's just basic use of GPS location data device collection. Something that you sign away when you buy your phone, basically. They're also looking at location and activity, decreased mobility, marker for anxiety and depression. The depressive symptoms basically go along with engagement, time that you place toward that engagement, and if that engagement is socially meshed, or you're withdrawing. So are you on your phone, or are you moving from place to place and not on your phone? Are you sleeping good? What's your heart, your blood pressure, and all this other stuff doing at these times of engagement? The algorithm, I wonder how they said that they can collect data that is collaboratively consistent, because as we know, algorithms are curated for each person. They swear they can. Sociability, are you socializing? No. Oh, depression marker. Really? It's that easy? It is that easy for these people. They're looking at sleep. Are you sleeping? Nope. Less sleep. Oh, depression and anxiety marker. These are all things also that your phone takes, Android and Apple. So it's not that you can get away from this. If you have Wi-Fi in your home, the activity on your Wi-Fi is being logged. And people go, I didn't sign on for that. Hang on, you'll see this. You'll see you don't have to sign on for this. And one other scary thing you'll learn later as well. The study found that mobility, social interactions, phone use, sleep-related features, they significantly improved to help them have a predictive programming to understand, is depression and anxiety growing or reducing. So they're changing this from we're treating people to we're trying to predict how many people are going to have this. Now, why would you want to predict that? This is the scary part. Read this. They're trying to predict and detect depression and anxiety in young people between 12 and 25 years of age. 12 and 25. More children have phones now, correct? Yes, a lot more have phones. Why do a lot more children have phones? Because they push them for sale. Why do they push them for sale? Possibly this is an answer. And don't worry about your ethics concerns, because review and or approval by an ethics committee and informed consent, they're not required. Because this is just a scoping review that involves secondary analysis of existing data that your phone company gets because you sign away those rights the moment you get a phone. So isn't it nice how they're working hand in hand to take this information from us, but they don't tell us really that they're taking it, and they're breaking it down into all of these different studies, and they're focusing on youth. Oh, are they, Elizabeth? Yes, they are. Here's the app markets that have grown, the mental health app markets. Look at the growth in just the last few years. Look at this growth. Why do we have this growth? What's important? Why are they putting apps on our phone to look at mental health? What's so significant about apps being placed on the phone to help them understand generalized anxiety and depression, possible indicators for predictive programming? Why is that important? And is it just the United States? Oh no, it's in Japan too. Japan's doing the same thing, possibly at a higher rate. Japan's doing the absolute same thing. And then people wonder, well, is it just Japan? Is it just North America? It wouldn't be something if 3 or more were doing this at the same rate. 3 or more, that would indicate it's not just, one of those oopsies, it happens, it's a coinky dink. But what if more were doing it at the same rate? Oh, well, let's just look. Here's North America again. Looky here. Same rate, an accelerated rate, same as Japan. But people say, but what if? What if the entire global market was doing this, Elizabeth? That would prove, just a couple countries doing this doesn't prove anything. They have high population rates, Elizabeth. They can make it look like that just because the population rate that can access a phone is growing, Elizabeth. Okay, I hear you. Here's the global market. Global market for mental health apps on phones. Yeah, straight up. Yeah, we're growing. We're growing like wildfire. Why is it so important? Perhaps because it's how they're going to predictive data research, where they can see what's coming. Why do they need to know what's coming? Well, because that's how they make money when they create these apps, and they help to treat us. They need to know what's coming so they can bank on it. They need a bankroll on us, y'all. It's not about treating what's occurring. It's about treating what's going to occur. That's where the money is. And the money is in home care settings. Yes, they want that phone in your home, and then they want you to use the app in your home. They want you to talk to somebody while you're in your home. Why? Because they're also collecting data while you're in your home. And look at this. Mental hospitals is running a very high second. Why would they bifurcate it into two very polarized? I mean, you're either at home or you're in a mental that's odd. That's odd. Very odd. So don't worry. They're going to be addressing pediatric mental health crisis, and they're going from a reactive to a predictive form of care. Yep, they're looking at your babies, y'all. Going to predictive care for how they getting that information on your babies. Well, aren't babies that can't speak? They can't do data analysis. They can't. Even the young kids. Wait. Younger kids are getting phones. Mothers are taking, going on their phone to learn about their babies. How do I treat this, that, and the other? Yeah. So they started acquiring this data a long time ago, 2011. Look at the big jump between 2016, 17, 18, 19, and then it dropped. Didn't we see that somewhere else? A big fervy of financial droppage to research this right before a climb in 2020. We saw this in something else too, didn't we? Oh, yeah, autism research. It's almost in every bracket, y'all. They were planning this, my opinion.